"This is amazing," I said. "I'm looking down on the world of the living, and I'm literally pushing my sisters into place. Fuck, this is awesome." So, yeah, I swear, sorry. So then I sat there, and he said, "You're not done." "What do you mean?" "I want to stay. This is amazing. Like, I want to enjoy this. Thank you for showing me. I see my grandfather. I've never met my grandmother. This is a good time. You're not finished. You need to go back." And I argued. I didn't want to go back. I was presented my wings, and if you're fortunate to see my wings, they're fucking huge, like his. I walk from that day forward with light. I was told to come back and carry on for people. I am that one that somebody looks at and goes, "I'm dying. I'm going to be dead in 3 months." My psychic ability will tell me whether or not they have 7 days, 9 days, or 24 hours. I give them my time. They ask me questions of who's there, who's going to take my hand. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of the questions and the experience that I have been fortunate to be a part of. It might hurt you, but believe me, it's real. It's 100% real. I was called into a family's home to be a quote-unquote support person for a woman who never felt that she was pregnant, yet she was 8.5 months pregnant. I instantly looked at her and I seen angel wings. I knew her baby was going, even before she was born. She was discharged from RVH Hospital with the death certificate at 17 days old. I showed up at her house. The biggest question was, her mother said to me, "When will I know to administer the morphine to allow her to go?" Can you imagine, as a parent, as a loved one that you pick to be your power of care or power of attorney, to make those decisions? If you can call upon a death doula or a spiritual person in order to tap in, please do. I said, "Did you want me to ask her?" "Are you kidding me? She's 17 days old, and how can she talk to you?" I looked deep into her big brown eyes, and she said, "Please tell my mommy that she won't have to make that decision." I looked at the dear mom and I said, "Hun, you don't have to make that decision. It will happen." That day, she did not have to administer the medication. And that little girl that turned into the ladybug that I see a lot, and that she appears for her mama, took her last breath in her mama's hands. That's one story. Second story. I was called into a woman's house that was having her women's get-together, all of 8 beautiful women. 7 of them did not know that she was dying with dignity. That dignity was that she picked her day, her time, and who was going to be with her. You know what her biggest question was, and after I did a psychic medium reading for all of her friends, was, "Please tell me who's going to be there." I said, "Okay, are you ready?" She said, "Yep." So I tapped in, and that's what this freak does. So I tapped in, and her grandmother appeared. And I looked at her grandmother very puzzled, and I said, "You're here." She didn't extend her hand for her. Why didn't she? Because her life of 14 years was MS, and her hands were like this. Her grandmother did not have the strength to open them up. I said, "Okay, so who's going to be there?" She said, "Please look behind her." So as this beautiful woman sat in front of me, her toes were crippled, her hands were like this. Her uncle appeared. And I said, please tell me what you're going to do for her. She said, please tell her I'm going to lift her. And as she takes her last transition, her hands will open up and she will be with her grandmother. So therefore, I shared the message. The woman looked at me and she started laughing and she said, okay, I'm good. I'm at peace now. Thank you very much. I said, what's about the pink stiletto shoes? She said, I used to dance, and when I had MS given to me, I stopped. Well, we need to get you shoes. So the day before this woman was supposed to die with dignity, I was guided to go to her house. There was no appointment made. There was nothing. It was the time that I was supposed to be there. I drove up to the driveway. I was met by her sister, who was full of tears. She said, I'm not ready for her to die. I said, she's ready to go. She's made her plan. So please tell me that you got her stilettos. And she said, she can't dance anymore. And I said, tomorrow she will put on her stilettos and she will dance the rest of her life. There is life on the other side if you choose to believe. I'm very fortunate that I get to see, I get to hear. They move me, they move things, and they being spirit. I'm in the perfect place at a perfect time for people. My last story that I want to share with you is when I was going to go with, I have a client that has ALS right now, who's finally at peace that the fact that she's going to die. And we swear all the time, and I know that when she dies, which will be probably about 2 months from now, she'll knock me on the shoulder and say, fuck you! Because when she brings out her whiteboard to talk to me, because I can't hear her words anymore because they're gone, I know that she's with me. The last story I'm going to share, because I probably can have gone over, is the day that my sister was dying. My sister and I had a relationship that was estranged, but yet she called to me during her death process. 6 weeks to the day that she was diagnosed with cancer. I knew she was dying the day that I saw her. I walked into her room and I was going to Cuba because that's my go-to place. I said to her, please give me a sign. And she said yes. And I said, that sign, you need to kiss me on the cheek. The day that she died, she did. Her question was, though, who am I going to go to? You see, my sister was raised by my little Nan. She was brought up as my aunt. My mom and her mother stood at the end of her bed. She didn't know who to go to. She heard them because she was okay with dying. She was okay that she was ready to take her last breath. What she wasn't okay with was, who am I going to go to? So I asked her, I said, do you want me to tell Mom and ask Mom? And she said, of course, because she saw, but she did not hear. My mother stood there and said, please tell her to take her mother's hand. And I will be at her side all the time. So when I told her to take my little Nan's hand, my beautiful sister who was dying of cancer, who had no pain because she had surrendered to the fact that she was dying, ripped off her house coat and said, here I am. I said to her, it doesn't happen that fast, but at least please cover yourself up. So here we are. So my sister died, and she went to my grandmother, and my mother walks with her every day. My sister became my guardian angel, the one that walks with me all the time. And when I sit there and I ask why my mother is coming, because my mother comes in front, she says, what did I tell you? I told you that I will always be with her. And then my sister appears. So if you do not believe, please trust that they are with us all the time. And if you have any questions, or if you wonder how they are, they're great, and they're at peace. And they have parties because they still have the poker game in my fucking ear. So that's a little bit about me. Yes, I am that freak. Yes, people call upon me when they're dying, and I see people when they're dying. That is where I'm supposed to be. God bless everyone.